Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my Amazonas deck. Now Amazonas are a pretty straightforward deck. They're really focused on like battle effects, usually effects that activate during battle. That's how most of them work. Pretty simple deck. I'd recommend this type of deck to beginners probably because of how kind of easy it is to play and how it focuses on battle effects and stuff like that. But for my build, we're going to have three Amazonas Swordswoman. So a really good card at making your opponent take the battle damage. So are really annoying to deal with. And then Amazonas Paladin, the beater for this deck. With its effect, it starts gaining attack pretty nicely. And with the other stuff in this deck, it starts to become pretty strong. And then Amazonas Tiger. So this one's really nice, just causing it to gain a lot of attack from what's on the field. Kind of like Amazonas Paladin. But then it also makes your opponent have to attack it, so it can become pretty strong. And then we have Amazonas Fighter, just another nice card where you won't be able to take any battle damage from attacks, which is very nice. And then Amazonas Trainee has a really nice effect. It keeps your opponent from activating graveyard effects because it sends your opponent cards to the deck. So a lot of cards are going to get really messed up by this, Exodia decks that are running cards like Mystic Tomato and Emissary are going to be in big trouble because they won't be able to activate those graveyard effects. And it also keeps gaining attack when it destroys, so that's very nice. But again, it really gets rid of a lot of searchers in a lot of decks, so it's pretty strong in the right situations. Amazonas Queen, the single tribute for this deck, very nice effect. Basically, all your Amazonas can't be destroyed by battle, so your opponent's going to have to start bringing out effects to deal with them. And with 2400 attack and 1800 defense, it's going to be a bit of trouble with this card. And then Goblindbergh, just giving you access to swarming and XYZ summoning very nicely, obviously with the warrior XYZs. And then one Amazonas Sage can be useful to start wrecking your opponent's spells and traps. And then also one warrior lady of the Wasteland, just useful to bring out one of your Amazonases, which is very useful. So for the spell cards, triple Pot of Duality, not a lot of special summoning in this deck, so it's an obvious choice. Amazonas Village. So the field card for Amazons is actually really interesting. It increases all of them by 200 attack, which is nice, but it's not amazing. But the big part of its effect is when one of your Amazons is destroyed by battle or card effects. That's big. It's also by card effects that you can just special summon one from your deck. So it really allows you to go up against card effects and deal with them nicely. If Amazonas Queen gets Mirror Force, you can just bring out another one, which is really nice. And also with the other Amazons, it just lets you kind of rearrange which one you have in the field and bring out one just to annoy your opponent for the right situation. So really good overall, and really protects you a lot. And then we have Magnum Shield. So a pretty good card in this deck because a lot of the Amazons have balanced stats. Amazonas Queen has pretty balanced stats. So does Amazonas Trainee, Amazonas Fighter, Amazonas Swordswoman. They all have really decent balanced stats. So they work out really well with Magnum Shield. And you don't want to overlook its defense effect, because if you have, Amazonas Queen with 4200 defense, it's going to be, a bit of trouble. So there's a lot of things you could do to kind of protect yourselves and stall, along with obviously how some of the other effects work. And then MST, Reinforcement of the Army with a warrior deck, Book of Moon, Dark Hole, and one Seal of Orichalcos. Seal of Orichalcos, again, with a deck that doesn't focus on special summoning, this could be really nice. Also very nice, giving all your cards 500 attack boost, just specifically because a lot of your Amazons are kind of at that point where they could be strong beaters if they had a bit more, attack boost, and the Seal will give that to them. Staple Traps, not much to say there. For the extra deck, just going to have 4-star XYZs that fit in well with the deck. With the Warriors, we have 2 Blade Armor Ninjas, 2 Excaliburs, and really, everything you'd expect to see. Gagaga, Blackship, Photon, Diamond Direwolf. The 2 new ones, Exciton Knight and Silent Honor, Fairy King because they're all Earth monsters, and Abyss Dweller, Daigusto, Maestroke, 1 6-star. I'm using Photon Strike Bounzer. You can use whatever you want, Terrace or Adrius. So for the side deck, again, side decks in my videos are just recommended cards that can also work with the deck if you're building it yourself. So these are some options you have. It's not necessarily a side deck for matches. So Giant Rat, kind of the same effect as Warrior Lady, but Warrior Lady is a warrior, obviously, so it's kind of more useful in that regard, that you can bring out, you can have a full a more warrior-based deck to bring out those XYZs. DD Warrior Lady, another warrior that has a really good effect, can work in this type of deck. Amazoness Scout's an interesting one to protect your monsters, but I'm not really big into it, especially because you have cards that protect your monsters or, resummon them. Then we have the Immortal Bushi, another really interesting card. Basically just is immortal. It can keep bringing itself back. Really interesting, but because it's 3-star, it doesn't really play too well in the type of deck I want. Effect Veiler, another choice if you want access to 5-star synchros, and 7-star, with Amazoness Queen. So that's an interesting choice. TG Striker gives you access to 8-star synchros, which can be very useful, like Colossus Fighter with this deck. Another alternative for this type of deck, you can run a Solidarity build. That was my old build. It works. It's pretty good. Having to rely on Solidarity can be annoying, and gives you a lot less choices for XYZs. But there are a good amount of warrior XYZs, these ones and Utopia and things like that. So a Solidarity build can run really well, and your Amazons will have very, very high attack. So that's definitely an alternative. Shrink can be really useful in this deck because you have a lot of battle effects, so you can use Shrink to ensure you're being able to activate those effects. And Amazoness Fighting Spirit is pretty much Skyscraper in Amazon form, so it's an interesting one, but because it's only on your attack, it can be kind of annoying. So yeah, I don't know if I'd run it. Burden of the Mighty, also really useful in terms of the fact that you use battle effects, but the problem is that with how much XYZ there is nowadays, it's not as useful as it used to be. Amazoness Spellcaster, another really interesting one where you can switch attack, but it's only for one turn. It can help you in certain situations, but I'm not running it. Claw the Haunted can be good for getting your resources back. Amazoness Archers is a really interesting one, kind of like Battle Mania, makes your opponent kind of go into full attack mode, so that can really set up some interesting field situations. So the last one in the side deck, Dramatic Rescue, can be an interesting one, just kind of like, rescues your monster and puts another monster in its place. So it can be a neat way of getting out an Amazon you want for a certain situation, or getting out Amazon Queen easily. Not what I'm running, but can be interesting. So that's my Amazon deck, or Amazoness deck. Again, very simple to use, just a basic, battle-based deck. Has a lot of effects to annoy your opponent. Has a lot of different things it can do that can counter a lot of different things, with Trainee and Sage and Queen. All these effects are really interesting, and they can help you out in a lot of different, decks you're playing against. I would still say it's more of a fun deck because it doesn't have the power and the swarming potential of a more competitive deck, but it can still be very fun to play. But if you guys have your own Amazoness deck, you can post below. Let me know what cards you use, make suggestions for me, that kind of thing. If you like this video, you can subscribe or hit the like button. I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see more from me, you could check the playlists that are in the description. One of them has a list of all the decks I've made so far. Another one has a list of all the decks I've made for this current ban list, so check that out. Also in the description is all my contact information. If you want to talk to me, tweet me, follow me on Twitter, all that stuff. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.